Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Monday, April 28th, 2025, and these are your unbiased updates. The United States continues to pound the Houthi rebels in Yemen, where specifically an attack occurred, and the number of casualties. And getting set for the gathering of the College of Cardinals in Rome. What's taking place at the Vatican and Sistine Chapel, where cardinals will gather to elect the next leader of the Catholic Church and its 1.5 billion followers.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
New this morning, Yemen's Houthi rebels say a United States airstrike hit a prison holding African migrants, killing at least 68 people and wounding 47 more. The strike in Sada, a Houthi stronghold, is the latest incident in the country's decade-long war to kill African migrants who risk crossing through Yemen for a chance to work in neighboring Saudi Arabia. The U.S. military has not commented on this particular attack. Ahead of it, U.S. Central Command released a statement reiterating its policy of offering no specific details of its extensive airstrike campaign in Yemen, known as Operation Rough Rider. The strikes have drawn controversy in the United States over Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's use of the Signal messaging app to post sensitive details about the attacks. Various news organizations are reporting U.S. strikes in Yemen's capital of Sana'a killed 8 people on Sunday and left others wounded. The Trump administration says it will continue attacks on the Houthis until the rebels stop assaults on merchant and Navy ships in the Red Sea, many of them American and others linked to Israel. U.S. military officials say they've carried out more than 800 individual strikes against the Houthis since Operation Rough Rider began on March 15th. The Houthis are allies of the terror group Hamas, which launched the massive attack on Israel in October of 2023. President Trump is hoping to reach a deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine in 2 weeks or less. That's what he told reporters Sunday after meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the Vatican ahead of Pope Francis's funeral on Saturday. President Trump revealed Zelensky asked for more weapons to continue his nation's fight against Russia, which has gone on for more than 3 years. President Trump is not guaranteeing that American aid for Ukraine.
He told me that he needs more weapons, but he's been saying that for 3 years. He needs more weapons, and we're going to see what happens. I want to see what happens with respect to Russia, because Russia has been surprised and disappointed, very disappointed that they did the bombing of those places after discussions.
The president referring to Russia's continued strikes on Ukraine ahead of Russian President Vladimir Putin's meeting with U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff on Friday to discuss a peace deal. Even after that meeting, Russia launched more drone attacks on 6 Ukrainian regions overnight Saturday. Meantime, Russia's defense ministry said its forces downed 8 Ukrainian drones overnight into Sunday. In an interview on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Russia and Ukraine are closer to a deal, but still not there yet, and the U.S. needs to weigh its options.
We cannot continue, as I said, to dedicate time and resources to this effort if it's not going to come to fruition. So the last week has really been about figuring out how close are these sides really, and are they close enough that this merits a continued investment of our time as a mediator in this regard.
Rubio did not give a timeline for Russia and Ukraine to reach a deal or face the consequences of the United States backing off, but he did say this is a critical week ahead. Now to Western Canada. Prosecutors in British Columbia have now charged a 30-year-old man with 8 counts of murder. Investigators believe Kaiji Adam Lowe deliberately drove his SUV into a crowded festival that was just ending for the night on Saturday. Thousands had gathered for the Filipino Heritage Festival known as Lapu-Lapu Day. The SUV attack left 11 people dead and dozens injured. One witness said it was like a bowling ball hitting bowling pins as the black Audi SUV struck festival goers and sent them flying into the air. Bystanders were able to eventually surround the SUV and hold the suspect until police arrived. The Vancouver mayor says the man has a history of mental health issues. Investigators have ruled out terrorism. Sunday night, vigils were held to honor the victims. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney attended less than a day before today's election in Canada. As the Trump administration continues its crackdown on illegal immigration, lawyers with the National Immigration Project say 2 U.S. citizen children were sent on their mother's deportation flight to Honduras without the opportunity to speak with attorneys. They say the move left a 4-year-old boy with stage 4 cancer without access to his medication. Attorneys were preparing documents to fight the woman's deportation when the children were taken out of the U.S. on an ICE charter flight before a petition could be filed, according to the lawyers. This comes as the National Immigration Project is dealing with a similar case involving the mother of a 2-year-old U.S. citizen who was deported with her child on Friday. Border Czar Tom Homan insists the child was not denied due process.
No U.S. citizen child was deported. Deported means you got to be reported by the immigration judge. We don't report U.S. citizens. 2-year-old went with the mom. The mom signed a paper saying, "I want my 2-year-old to go with me." That's a parent's decision. It's not a government decision. It's a parent's decision.
Homan told CBS's Margaret Brennan he was not aware of the specific case regarding the 4-year-old with cancer who was sent to Honduras, but did say, quote, "Having a U.S. citizen child after you entered this country illegally is not a get-out-of-jail-free card." In Rome, the Vatican has now closed the Sistine Chapel where Catholic cardinals will gather for the conclave to elect the next pope. This is the next step after the funeral and burial of Pope Francis on Saturday, as the 9-day mourning period continues following the pontiff's death last Monday. People will be keeping an eye on the chimney where ballots will be burned after the votes. There is no telling how long the conclave will last. It is expected to start next Monday, May 5th at the earliest. There are 253 cardinals, but only 138 are eligible to vote because they are under the age of 80. When the conclave begins, cardinals will chant the Litany of the Saints as they file into the chapel and then take an oath of secrecy. The chapel's double doors will then close. Once the cardinals choose a pope, white smoke will rise from the chimney and bells will toll. Finally this morning, we now know who will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. The 2025 class includes first-timers Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, and Bad Company, alongside some big names like pop star Cyndi Lauper, hip-hop pioneers Outkast, and grunge masters Soundgarden. Salt and Peppa, the first female rap act to achieve gold and platinum status, will get the Musical Influence Award. Some nominees that did not get in this year include Mariah Carey, Fish, Billy Idol, the Black Crowes, and Oasis. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, of course, is in Cleveland, Ohio, home of where Shedeur Sanders will start his NFL football career. What a saga that was at the NFL draft over the weekend, and will likely continue into this week. Those are your unbiased updates for this Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.